Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two and a Half Salesmen. I'm your host Mario, together with my again phenomenally looking host Julio. Julio, how do you do it?
It's the glasses, man. It's the glasses.
This is just becoming completely unbearable for me. I
No,
need to.
I mean, it's the glasses that you're not wearing.
It's the glasses that I'm not wearing. I only have my wife's glasses here.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think you should do with that. You should do with that. I think that would work.
Oh, so, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode, very important one. Um, and that is the importance of industry knowledge in sales, hiring salespeople, right? So, very, I would say, current topic. Both Julie and I have a lot of examples of this specific topic. So, Julio, I will let you do kind of the opening remarks.
Great. Well, look, I come from a company that used to do used to get you to study your own industry when you started, just to give you some talking points. And look, there's undeniable value in talking the same language as your customers, right? It's a no-brainer, right? It's better to talk. Well, maybe it is a brainer, but it's technically better to know what you're talking about.
Okay, so let me. Okay, I'll interject immediately, just to challenge a little part of what you said. So talking like your customer, right? Is that industry knowledge, or is it? So what is? So let's define industry knowledge, right? Because you go to one conference, and if you have any brains on you, you'll catch the lingo immediately. Not even that. If your head of sales and VP sales has even a decent playbook, like sales playbook, you'll catch the lingo immediately.
I mean, I think
is lingo
you're really
knowledge?
overestimating the brains of most humans on this planet. I'm sorry, but that you'll catch the lingo immediately. There's people that been living in England for 20, 30 years and still don't speak the language properly. You know, I'm talking about English people in this case. You know, I come from Italy in places that sometimes you're like, what language are you talking? So no, I disagree with that. But I can support the fact that you can play around with keywords, right? Because if you really don't understand some keywords, you will look like an idiot, right?
Yeah,
like if someone talks to you about MRR and you don't know what that is, like, okay, you can play the curious salesperson as much as you want, but then they'll be like, when did you start lactating from your mother? So yeah, there's a limit, I think.
Yeah. So your background obviously comes from recruitment and hiring. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? So before I go all ranty against having industry knowledge in hiring, what is / what was your attitude when, let's say, assessing a CV, or let's say talking with a candidate in sales, because this is a sales podcast, for a specific role that either has or lacks industry knowledge?
Look, pure and simple, the brutal truth is that there was a key aspect of the search. That's actually one of the ways you would get a client. You tell them, I've got a guy from your competitor. Simple as that. And I think that's the part where you're going to get ranty about, is because most leaders are much happier with the ready meal than with a different mindset and different attitude that can actually help change things.
I am going to get ranty about it, simply because study after study, specifically the two ones, and you know both of these. So the Challenger and Jolt disproved industry knowledge being crucial part of success in sales. Like, there are other factors that govern success in sales.
They didn't disprove it. They just simply put together that it's not such an important factor compared to others.
Well, hiring managers put importance on it.
Of course.
And so then this proved the importance.
Look, I'm gonna play devil advocate again.
Sure. I will hate you for the next 60 seconds.
You probably will, because my argument is pretty good as well. What do you think is one of the biggest hiring managers' fears?
Oh, wrong hire.
Not just that.
Wrong
hire.
fit.
What does wrong hire actually entail?
In sales? Well, I haven't. I've never been I've never been specifically hire manager, but I hire a lot of salespeople and interviewed. For me, it is, can you do the job? I don't care where you come from.
No, that's not what I mean. So wrong hire, what does it entail? If you hire the wrong person, there's only one thing that's going to happen, right?
She's not going to do their job.
Either you fire them or they leave, right?
So you mean if you hire someone who is like, if you commit a wrong hire, these are the two possibilities. You either
exactly.
Okay.
And
the
so
I'm really curious where you're going with this.
And so, how much do you think you reduce risk if you're taking someone from a competitor, because they become even more specialized, so they're less likely to go to another industry themselves?
Well, I would say this is very, very old school thinking, simply because, number one, you will eliminate a giant pool of very capable candidates that can actually learn the industry pretty quickly, but can sell better.
Look, Mario, this is the fundamental issue that
it is.
But because you make it too simple, man.
But it is simple. Can you sell or not?
It's not simple, man, because how many times you got people that run really good interviews and then they are fucking shit after?
Well, run better interviews.
Well, that's man, if that was so easy, recruitment wouldn't be $1 billion industry, right?
Because it's broken.
I'm not arguing with that. But at the same time, salespeople, even the crap ones, they know what to say. They know how to get past an interview usually. And that's why I literally had a client today that rang me up and is like, hey, I'm considering a sales agency. What should I get them to do? And I'm like, can you send me the website? And it was a terrible agency, but the guy ran a really good pitch. So it was like, oh yeah, it sounds good. Salespeople can sell, including at interviews. That doesn't mean they're going to be good for the job. So why not reduce the risk?
Whoa. You deep dive, man. Salespeople, number one, salespeople know their numbers, right? So if I have a sales guy on interview and he doesn't know his numbers, so for the SDR, how many calls did you do? How many meetings did you book? What was your activity, etc., etc.? Or for account executive, what's the pipeline you generated? What is the conversion rate? How many demos are you doing on average? What is the size of the pipeline that you generated on your own? In contrast to whatever. So if you don't know your numbers, that's number one.
How many interviews do you think this guy is going to fail with this logic? He's going to get screwed over the first one. By the second one, I guarantee, if he's not an idiot, he's got some good numbers written down.
But you can catch them if they're lying, man. Come on.
Do you know? Look, you've done a lot of interviews, right? How many interviews have you done?
How many over the course of the career?
Over the course of the career.
I would say well over 1,000.
1,000 interviews, okay?
Right. Without exaggerating.
So 1,000 interviews, right? And you worked how many years? 20.
Over 20, yeah.
20. Right. So 20 years, I've got 200 working days per year. So that's 4,000, right? So you're telling me you run an interview a week, basically.
Well, if you look at it on average, yes, but it's there was a period when I did a lot of them, and then a small number.
But that's what I'm trying to say. It's still, even in your case, which is a lot, it still doesn't make you a absolute expert on this. You still got bullshitted. How many times you hired the wrong person? Probably at least 20%, 30%.
Yeah, I would say less than 20.
Let's say 15%. And you had 1,000 interviews. How many do you think the average VP has done? Like
I would say
200, 200 maybe? Like, you know,
but again, look,
you see where I'm
the
going with this?
argument, yeah. So the argument is, why would you put more importance on industry knowledge versus the ability of the salesperson to actually understand sales, understand the process, and being able to convert conversations into dollars/euros?
Look, I would like to tell you that you're right, and that's how everyone should think. But I recruited for a lot of sales roles myself, not 1,000, but I've talked to more than 1,000 salespeople. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. And what I can tell you is that it'll depend, because you'll have a VP that's trying to get into a new market, and all he cares about is a guy that's coming in with 5 accounts and can help them build their case studies. For example, you'll have another guy that doesn't want to be threatened by a very good younger person, blah, blah, blah. So that there's so many ways on the spectrum. Like me and you will look at it from the consultative perspective, like we want the best.
Yes.
You'd be surprised how often people don't want the best or are not willing to pay for the best or blah, blah,
correct. Blah. Everyone says they want the best, but I agree here with you. Not everyone, deep down, not everyone wants it.
But look, but in any case, look, I played enough devil advocate.
Yeah.
Let me play the other side for a second. Is that industry knowledge has got one massive fuck up. Is that, especially for junior salespeople, is that you're gonna start thinking you know what you're talking about, and that will make you less curious, and that will increase your talk time, and you'll trip on your own bullshit. Plain and simple.
Yes, I've seen this happen. I've seen people having industry knowledge, even worse for the founders or hiring managers or VPs or whatever, having industry connections, but can't do jack shit with them. Right? So they sell themselves. So, oh, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I know everyone here and everyone here and everyone here, which is correct. But then actually getting to a problem statement, doing a proper discovery, and like surfacing the pain, they don't know how to do it. They don't know like basics sales 101 techniques.
Exactly. And this is what I've seen myself, is that the knowledge or the context, we're talking about context here, more than industry knowledge, really. Like it's a clutch. It's something that you rely on to perform well, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to use it, that it's going to be positive. Basically.
I really like this angle, my friend. I like the angle that with a lot of industry knowledge, you become dependent on it. And it is a kind of, as you said, crutch. Ooh, I like that. I like that angle, man.
So look, long story short is, I think it's good to have that a little bit of onboarding about what are the key terminology, what are some trends, right? Let's say you're selling to recruitment agencies right now. If you don't know that the tech recruiters are fucked, you're going to sound a bit stupid, basically, because it's so obvious for everyone else, right? But I think you're going to learn most of this through talking to prospects anyway.
So what I'm saying is, like, if you are selling specifically to an automotive, right? I can, or very technical industries, like I can see why having industry knowledge could be considered an asset, right? You know the technical stuff, as you said, the lingo. But again, any decent account executive will ramp up and be much more effective than someone who just has industry knowledge but doesn't know how to sell.
I look, generally I would agree. Okay, let's
if you have two sales guys, equal,
no, you fucking give me this bullshit question all the time. we try this like 3 times, and every time I give you the same answer. No, like I get it. It's obvious that if I can pick, but okay, let me give you a different example, right?
Yeah.
I have David Goggins on one side, right? You know David Goggins, right? Top athlete, ex-military guy, is the Uberman, etc., right?
Yeah.
Who's a marathon runner, probably one of the best athletes on the planet, right? On the other side, you got an actual basketball player. Who's going to play a better game of basketball? The athlete or the basketball player?
Not the same thing.
It bloody is the same thing. It bloody is the same thing. They're both sports and they're both athletes, right? But at the same time, like one knows the rules of the game. Yes.
I would say not the same thing, man. It's not the same.
You come from
we go from the knowledge perspective where in any given industry, any reasonably smart salesperson can onboard him or herself by reading 2 or 3 thought leader books in that specific industry, and he's ready.
That's bullshit, Mario.
It's not bullshit.
Okay, look, you're coming from enterprise, right? Let's say I sell for Salesforce, okay?
All right.
And I'm hired for Salesforce, but I'm coming from HR tech, right?
All right.
And I get on the first call with someone from HubSpot, right?
All right.
If I don't really know all the problems that HubSpot has as a CRM, am I really gonna even get to the next stage?
Well, that's why salespeople created onboarding or proper.
Right. So now you agree with me. Because so you want to tell me that I'm gonna learn everything about HubSpot just by doing a bit of onboarding and reading a book on it?
Maybe not on HubSpot, but if you're selling a CRM, you definitely know, you gotta know what the CRM industry looks like, and you gotta know what are the pros, cons of different competitors.
And what's the best way to get that?
Best way?
Yeah.
Well, I never worked for HubSpot, so I have no idea what they're.
Well, no, but what would be the best way to have CRM experience?
Well, you are talking about a very commoditized software that everybody uses.
Okay.
Right.
Do you want to? Should we try this with a different example? You think it's going to be a different result?
Go.
Right. Okay. So I'm selling supply chain software. Okay, something very specific for
logistics, supply chain logistics. Okay.
Something like that does predictive analysis, etc. Right?
Yes.
And let's say either I'm first mover, so I'm the only person that does that in the market, and even in that case, I need to be able to know what the competitors aren't doing. Or otherwise, like if I have zero knowledge, and again, in an enterprise field, because I think SME, you can get away with it, right? Because in SME, they'll give you more time. But in enterprise, you'll have a buyer that comes into the call and they'll be like, right, so how are you going to fix these problems for me?
Okay.
And at that point, I don't think an onboarding is really going to be enough for you to close the deal.
Well, my friend, not on a first call. Enterprise sales cycles are like
you won't get to the second if you don't sound like you know what you're talking about. And you know this yourself.
Of course. I don't have an issue with that. That's why you should have a fairly competent, and I already see me falling off the cliff here, fairly competent VP of sales or sales enablement that will enable you.
That comes from the industry.
That comes from the. I just truly don't see it. I don't see it, man.
Okay.
One of the problems why I don't see it, like the importance of industry knowledge, is because I worked in maybe in the last 15 years, I worked in like 6 or 7 different industries. I led teams in 6 different industries.
But Mario, but that's the point. One, you're not you're one of a kind.
I am one of a kind. Thank you.
That's kind of your USP. The fact that you worked in so many industries, you understand so many different things about sales, right? And I fully understand that. But look, let's reverse engineer
But then
this for a second.
how do you distinguish someone who is a top performer regardless of industry, and why would you disqualify him? For someone who has
I
industry
wouldn't.
knowledge,
Well,
I get disqualified all the time because I don't have industry knowledge.
Because you're Serbian, that's why.
Yeah. That's just racist.
It's racist. It's racism, man. Like, of course,
that's racism.
Of course.
So to every hiring manager that rejected my CV.
but look, jokes aside, I think that we talked about this before. Obviously, if you get yourself your Zach Thompson, right? My personal mentor. If you get yourself Zach Thompson in the interview, and on the other side you got a very solid niche guy in your industry, obviously you still hire Zach Thompson. But how often you get Zach Thompson?
No.
More often than not, you got a guy that's he shows promise, but you're still risking that he's not good. While the other guy is guaranteed to bring some clients in. So why would you take the risk?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? That's why the hiring industry, especially in sales, is, I would argue, fundamentally broken. Simply because you are disqualifying highly skilled. So let's not talk about the majority. You're disqualifying highly skilled, very motivated and hungry salespeople just because they don't have industry knowledge.
I actually think that that's not true.
You think it's not true?
No, I think it, because I've seen it myself, is that the big enterprises, they don't give a shit because they get the candidates they want. They'll get the person from the competitor. Salesforce, most of the time, it's probably going to happen from competitors. Let's be honest. They don't care. They get all the candidates. And then the lower you go, what happens if they don't get the one that ticks all the boxes, they will compromise. And you see this happen all the time. But he's never going to be a first-tier choice. I mean, maybe it will be. When software will help do this instead of humans. When you'll be able to really properly analyze a person for their aptitude, not the industry experience, then at that point, and that's something softwares can do, because let's be honest, I worked with all types of recruiters. We all fuck things up. We're still humans. So when software is there and perhaps the right onboarding, then the problem will be fixed.
I'm not without the, I would say, change management of the entire industry and just like philosophy shift into performance versus industry knowledge. I'm not seeing this happening anytime soon.
But again, the problem is that you still put them the two as like black and white. It's not black and white. You can perform and be coming from the same industry. Like how? What? I don't understand what the problem is. Why
well,
would
the problem is, so here's what problem I have. Problem is exclusion of, I would say, great candidates just because they don't have industry knowledge.
But they're not. Well, this is what we talked about. They're not great candidates if they don't fit what they're looking for. Like, if I can have Zach Thompson with the industry experience, I won't even look at the other guys. I'm sorry. Why would I? And this is what we keep getting stuck with.
This is not the reality of your average SME / large company that hires salespeople. Right?
Look, what they start with is that
Zach Thompsons of the world, very similar to you and me, are in their own business. Like, there is a point where top performer says, fuck it, I will work on my terms. And I will work with different clients that I want to work with.
But this is also the thing. How many top performers in an industry do you think want to change industry?
In sales?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
I would say most of them are motivated by cash.
So if I'm working in HR tech, why would I want to change to something else when I can pick up the phone to some old clients, do less prospecting, not having to relearn the lingo. Some people will want to reinvent themselves. Most people, why would they? And again,
so I think we are onto something here. Finally, at minute 30.
we've been into something the whole time. You just disagree with it.
And then now I lost it. Thank you for this.
Well, it wasn't that important.
Yeah, probably wasn't.
But look, the point is, obviously, if you're a line manager, but also actually, let me strip this back even further. Right. Imagine you go to talent acquisition, right?
All right.
And you tell, hey, I just want good salespeople. What do you think they're going to do with that?
I would say depending on talent acquisition. I don't know. So what is the relationship between talent acquisition and sales?
Let's talk about this for a sec. So what they're going to post an advert saying, looking for good salespeople? No, they're not. They're going to outreach on LinkedIn to all the salespeople they possibly can find? No, they're not. No. The job becomes impossible, right? They go to an agency and say, just send me some good salespeople. No, that's how? How are they going to be able to find the good salespeople? Do you see what I mean? Like, they have to start with something narrow, and then they widen it if they don't find it. They start with like HR tech, 5 competitors. That doesn't work. Okay, I'll go to SaaS. Or maybe I'll go to recruitment agencies because they sell to the same people, whatever, right? But like, and that's also from the searching perspective. And even for a TA person, they receive a CV of someone that's not coming from the industry. Why would they prioritize it when they got 10 more? And the line manager is going to make their life difficult. So they should make 15 more interviews to figure out the right attitude. That's not that.
So I remember that. You remember what I wanted to say, and it is important that you said people don't want to change. So
people don't want to change industry.
Or generally, people don't want to change, but people generally don't want to change. So I would argue maybe that the part of the problem is that the hiring industry, so talent acquisition, hiring managers, is based on that specific premise. I want to challenge myself. I want to work in as much industries as possible just to widen my view of the world, my understanding of the world.
Right.
But most people, as you correctly said, don't want to do that. What they want is 9 to 5 stability.
Yeah.
And I would then argue that the need for industry knowledge when it comes to hiring comes from this supposition. People don't want to change, so we will ask for industry knowledge and try to get best people that have industry knowledge.
No, Mario, you're trying to get but what we already established that between two, let's say 8 out of 10 performers, the one with better industry knowledge is better, period. Can we argue? Can you argue with that? 2 equal performers, industry knowledge wins. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I can concede to that.
Right. Thank you. So at this point, why would you be looking outside first? You look at that later. It's like, let me put it this way. It's like you have qualified leads and unqualified leads. Why would you go for the unqualified leads? Because there might be a gold nugget in that.
Without industry knowledge be unqualified?
Because we just established that at the same level of performance, the one with industry knowledge is a better fit. So why wouldn't I start with the one also?
But it's backwards, right? So you establish a baseline where you say, if I have 2 equal performers, one with industry knowledge will win. And then you will say, okay, I will disqualify these because I'm only looking at industry.
You just don't prioritize them. So if I run out of candidates that got the industry, then I'll go for the other ones, right? But also, you mentioned yourself, people don't want to change, right?
Well, we agree, that, we are in agreement.
I think, come on. And so why wouldn't I start with the one coming from competitors? Because they're more likely to know who I am and then therefore change.
Dude, I've seen salespeople that are hoppers that go from one competitor to another to another to another.
that
like
is,
tap, tap,
is
tap,
that
tap,
everyone?
and then 8 years of their
Like,
lives is spent in
is that
industry.
everyone though?
Not everyone.
No, I can look at you.
I am so desperate to trash this argument. I'm just now hanging on to straws.
Do you hear that sound? Like it's like you trying to like climb on a mirror. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, end remarks.
But and remarks, it's quite simple. Like obviously, you should always prioritize attitude and sales skills. But if you can have both, take both.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. My and this has been my attitude for a long time is I would rather hire a person who is better at sales and understanding deep down sales versus someone who is less but has either industry knowledge or comes from the industry. But when push comes to shove, if I have two performers, same understand, same skill level, it's a no-brainer. Then it's a no-brainer.
Boom! I can't believe.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoy the me and Giulio relentless arguing on this
session.
Yes. Next week we have a guest from my good friend doing Milo doing RevOps. So it's gonna be a very cool episode. He's a super expert. So until next time, just keep selling, my friends. Keep selling.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.